Hello, everyone. Hope you are doing very well. This is Ray, the dragon, and I thought we might do a little impromptu pick a guard game. A pick a card game, even, as it's been a while. Yeah, lockdown and pandemic stuff has been a bit of a challenge, I must say. I think I've personally found that a lot of my enthusiasm has not been particularly ascendant for a while, but it's steadily coming back. January hibernation is wearing off a bit, and lockdown has slowed the pace of life down quite considerably. Yeah, all taking one day at a time, and I am sure that it's the most for most of you, it is the same. With how things are at the moment, I thought it would be nice to focus our pick a card game on how best we can direct our energies in this lockdown. What we should focus on, emphasize, maybe a bit of advice. Who knows what the cards will say? um, for this, I've chosen my Dragon Tarot deck as well. They are very incisive and get straight to the meaty nuance of how we're feeling and thinking in a moment, which I think is probably the most helpful thing we can do right now. They are my first and favourite deck, as I'm sure our regulars know. So if you like them and fancy getting some for yourself, then I heartily recommend checking them out. They are The Dragon Tarot by Peter Pracownik and Terry Donaldson. As always, this is strictly for fun. It might grant us some advice that will be helpful, of course, but we have to approach it in the spirit of fun. Because it's a general reading, really. It's focusing more on the collective spirit of it, and as a consequence, that it won't resonate completely with everyone, sadly. But hopefully, what we'll discuss will generate a spark that we can consider and think about moving forward. Let's get ourselves started. Before we begin, take a nice deep breath, ground yourself, take this moment for yourself, and focus on the idea of what you should direct your attentions to at this time. Cast a gentle gaze over the cards, and if you are drawn to one in particular, pick that one and we'll see what it has to say. I'll put timestamps in the description below so you can skip ahead to your card if you wish. But if you want to stay and listen to the rest, then you will, of course, be most welcome. So let's go. So the first card is the Three of Coins. Um, this is one that is associated with like employment, teamwork, getting things established. The depiction of this card in particular always strikes me as a bit uneasy and possibly threatening. I mean, the dragon is kind of making his way along a tricky, unsteady path, and he's surrounded by this dark forest and black trees that seem to sort of uh, feel like they're sort of enclosing around him. It's quite odd. I mean, traditionally, this card, I think, like in the Rider Waite tarot deck, it depicts three people. Like in discussion in a cloister, thinking about work or building and stuff like that. So this idea of being enclosed or constrained or within constrained circumstances is very reminiscent of lockdown at the moment. I mean, if you picked this card, it suggests to me that you might be one of the lucky ones that are still working or still have employment. Um, but of course, work is going to be more difficult, more challenging. It's had to adapt to all these challenging conditions. It's probably going to be quite difficult. And you're probably having to watch your step all the time. It's likely to be quite exhausting. But it has to be said that this card is an encouragement. I mean, it's saying that you're doing good work, but it's potentially it's likely taking its toll. So what it's suggesting is that the primary focus of your energies are directed at work, which is helpful because it's keeping you in a routine, it's keeping you occupied, it's getting money coming in. Um, and so for all those reasons, it's very useful. But at the same time, it could be causing burnout or taking its toll in some way. It could be very challenging. Um, and I suppose similarly, if you're not currently working, then the same sort of thing applies. There could be a sense of the walls closing in around you, or you're feeling like your motivation is being sapped, or um, like just entwined in the sort of tricky coping mechanisms or behaviors and stuff. Um, so it's bringing your awareness to things of that ilk. This card is an encouragement to reach out to friends. It's highlighting that idea of teamwork and camaraderie and groups of tight knit people that can help each other out. It might even be an encouragement to find something, even if it's a tiny thing, to focus your attention on. I mean, I suppose from personal experience, it's all too easy when one is idle in these sort of situations to just sit yourself down in front of the TV with the news channels blaring away, chattering away, whatever they're talking about. And at the same time, you're kind of idly scrolling away on your phone, like through social media, finding nothing that's particularly inspiring, but you're sort of searching for something that's kind of gets a spark going, or something that holds your interest for more than a second. And inevitably, I suppose, it kind of disintegrates into this doom scrolling nonsense where you just sort of start finding endless reasons to be like angry, or find things that is more bad news on top of another. And I mean, it's important to say that there is a lot of things that are very bad at the moment, and there should be a lot of outrage about some of the decisions that are being made. But at the same time, from a very personal standpoint, that sort of a coping mechanism of trying to find something that holds your attention, or just passes the time, but at the same time not being particularly present in what you're doing, is not particularly healthy, and it's a sort of addictive behavior that just keeps spiraling, and it's not useful. So in any case, we need to find something, therefore, that you can direct your attentions to, that brings you into that state of sustained attention in the present moment, that brings you some sense of joy or ease, or just keeps your mind occupied, or your body occupied, or even both. I mean, it's important that we kind of gently sort of stoke our motivation to keep things going. I mean, it is doubly difficult, I think, certainly in January, with all the traditional pressures of New Year's resolutions and New Year, New Me type things. But it happens at the wrong time, really. It's winter. It's the height of winter. It's still dark. We're still essentially in hibernation mode. So it's more important that we are gentle with ourselves and keep our attentions on something more focused and more joyful, rather than broadly trying to sort of batter down walls and things like that. So it's that double whammy of being in hibernation and in darkness, and on top of that, being in lockdown. So here it's encouraging you to keep your attentions focused on something that keeps you on an even keel. It's an encouragement to practice some self-care. Self-care doesn't need to be indulgent. It just needs to be a recognition that you need to take care of yourself. And especially if you're in work in a challenging environment that is pushing you and pushing you, you need to take that moment to ground yourself and revitalize yourself and regenerate yourself. And whether that's taking the time to read a book or listen to music or, I don't know, watch a movie, get yourself in a bath in candlelight or something, because it just goes to show that you need to, in order to function properly and to help other people, you can't serve from an empty vessel. So this is an encouragement to make sure that you focus on doing that. I mean, if you have to vent to a friend or two, or reach out to them, or find something that makes you happy and inspired, then do so. It's a tough and windy road in this forest that this dragon finds himself in, and there's still a way to go, but we will get there. So it's just keeping ourselves on an even keel in order to do that. Oh, there we go. So our second card is it's the Knight of Cups. It's an interesting card. It feels gentle. It feels quiet, perhaps even zen if you're one of the lucky ones. I suppose similarly to the Three of Coins, there's a sort of defensive quality about this dragon, because we can see he carries a shield quite close to his breast, and there is a still quality about it as well. I suppose that's the sense of the zen, that is just a moment of breathing, I guess. I suppose this kind of resonates with my feelings about things at the moment. Like, life is more or less on hold for a while, or it's like the pause button has got stuck and we're just waiting for the play button to get repaired or something. Of course, it's important that we do stay paused for a while, but it's not to say that things are actually still. I mean, behind the dragon there is a moving stream, so things are still in motion, and you can, I suppose, in that sense, direct your energies to keep that stream flowing. See, the cups are the realm of emotion, feeling, relationships, wishes, the land of creativity. So, I mean, it seems that while things are on hold, or if you're like in a particular industry or area of expertise or something in the world that is in suspended animation at the moment, say, especially for like the creative industries, I mean, there's still things that can keep your personal waters flowing, and you should, in a sense, keep tending to them. I'm reminded of Orpheus, Greek bard and prophet, male siren, famously of the Orpheus and Eurydice story. A lot seems to remind me of this tale. I do love it. I think it's my favourite tale. But anyway, as Orpheus, he's a figure of like legendary creative skills, a male siren. He was just fantastic in Greek myth. But I get the sense that he himself is stuck in a room, like black walls, a sort of box room. Get that image of like a sort of dark prison. There is a door, but it's locked, or someone hasn't come by yet to open it. So he's essentially in a situation like lockdown, where we are meant to stay in and should do for a while. So instead of, I suppose, focusing and lamenting on that situation, he turns to his lyre, his stringed instrument, his harp type thing, and he begins to play and sing, and he absorbs himself in this reverie which he himself creates, which soothes him, it passes the time, and it keeps the creative juices flowing and on an even keel, I suppose. I mean, I suppose there's a certain acceptance of circumstances reflected here. So it suggests to me that if you picked this card, you are, on balance, I say, doing rather well. It's just worth keeping your energies directed to areas that keep you nourished and in a state of readiness until things open up and we can be released upon the world again. um, it's an encouragement to keep things simmering, and this is different to being on the boil, because on the boil suggests a sort of energy that just isn't in here in this card. This card seems to emphasize gentleness and sensitivity, so it's doing things calmly, mindfully, with love, not out of overt energies. And I think you can see what I mean. It's keep the faith in what you're doing, and just keep things moving gently like the stream in the background. It might also, now that I think about it, it might suggest that if you've picked this card, you might be a soothing or steady influence to others as well. Um, People might sense that you're doing okay and are gentle and open-hearted. So if you are approached by someone that might need some assistance or just a chat or something like that, then give that person the time of day, lend an ear, share how you're feeling, share a story, check in with others. Um, it's I think it will be of benefit to you, and could potentially be of enormous benefit to this other person. Um, it is that sense of your personal chalice is in a good state at the moment, and you can therefore help other people to feel a similar way, which is a gift. So it's yeah, it's a lovely thing if you're in a position that you can do that. Um, so be mindful of that. Be mindful. And finally, our third card is the Ace of Swords. It's interesting to see that there's a steady rise in energy throughout all these cards. Um, I mean, it is a sort of damp, heavier energy to Three of Coins. Then we've got this sort of gently elevated one with the Knight of Cups, and here with Ace of Swords. I mean, whenever I look at this card, I always think of the word breakthrough. Um, there's just a lot of energy within this card. It's very zesty. Um, yeah, upright, proud sword. I always think there's a sort of realm of mirrors around them. I mean, there's lightning that sparks away, there's bubbles of energy. That iridescent dragon is so fascinating, that's wrapped himself around the blade. It just sort of fizzles with energy. It's rather wonderful. So if you've picked this card, it suggests to me that you've probably been hit by some sort of divine spark. You're in the throes of enthusiasm. Um, it's not clear to me what exactly it is, but whatever's gripped you, um, you're potentially finding a lot of excitement in it. So I wonder if it might be linked to the realm of mirrors. It's why I can't see what it is exactly clearly, and because it's a general reading. Um, but it's yeah, I mean, it's like you look into a panel and you see something reflected back at you, and you look into another mirror and something else is reflected back at you. I suppose in that sense, it's probably a world of possibilities that you peer into something and then you see it reflected back, or you see um, the sort of end result of what your enthusiasm has imagined. Uh, Whatever it is, certainly a cause for excitement. Could be something very small, could be something large. It could be I don't know, a business idea that suddenly struck you. It could be inspiration to do like a exercise routine and get really fit. Maybe it's a creative venture, like write a book or a blog or something. I mean, whatever it is, it's giving you a sense, a real sort of driving force to see it manifested. And because things are quite relatively quiet at the moment, and we've got this opportunity to, I suppose, create a sort of oven in which we can um, bake something into something rather wonderful, then why not explore that possibility? I mean, I have this thing that keeps coming up. Like, was it Shakespeare wrote King Lear during the plague or something? I don't know if it's true, but it just flashes through my head. So it's that sort of level of enthusiasm that seems to have come by, which is great if you're fortunate enough to have that. So clearly, that is something that you should direct your attention to. But the card, of course, asks you to do so carefully and mindfully. It may be worth doing, sad to say, the boring stuff first, like getting it down on paper, your ascendant ideas about it, what you envision it to be, how you can go about it, what resources you can draw on. And this is all purely to keep that little spark fanned throughout the process and getting the sort of building blocks of discipline going, that allows the motivation to keep it going. Because I'm sure that we have all been in that situation where we have suddenly been thoroughly inspired to do something, and we've gone at it gung-ho, full force, and suddenly it's gone, and we are in the midst of what was enthusiasm, and it's disappeared as quickly as it's come by. So it's important that you get those building blocks in straight away so you can keep motoring away. And it could be very exciting. I mean, I'd love to hear what captured your attention if this resonates with you. But the card does say direct your attentions sort of mindfully towards it and constructively. It's I think it was Aleister Crowley that in his Thoth tarot deck, the swords are the realm of air, which have come from, I think it's the birthing of fire and water. So if you combine those senses together, you get steam, which is air. Um, so steam is highly energized, it's out there, it is the realm of enthusiasm, if you like. But it might, I think, be worth turning the heat down somewhat so you start getting the condensation about it. So it's more grounded, it's more, you can see the shape of it more clearly. So you know what you're working with and you know where you want to be, so you can turn the heat up again and see that it's manifest and see it come by. That sort of realm of ideas, so you can ensure that you keep yourself going and you keep having the energy to see it through. But in any case, very exciting indeed. So yeah, I think that draws to a close what these cards are saying to me. I hope you enjoyed it and something about it resonated in some way for you. If you would like a personal reading with either myself or the Druid, then do get in touch. I'll put website details and Facebook and all that stuff in the description below. I mean, we tend to run things in a pretty pandemic-proof way already. Most of our readings are done either online on something like Zoom. We can arrange to meet up on something like that, or via email. We do detailed written reports of what the cards say for a question that you have. Could even do an audio recording if that's something that appeals to you, I think. Anyway, just let us know what you prefer, and we'll do our best to accommodate. We have various spread choices, or however you like it, online or email, and different prices as well. So do check it out if that appeals to you. In the meantime, do stay safe, stay well, be abundantly cautious, and take care of each other and yourselves. It's a tricky time, as we all know at the moment, and we still have much of the woods to travel through yet. Thank you, Three of Coins. So keep steady as best as you can. yeah, so thank you very much for listening, everyone. Take care and see you next time. Bye.